Welcome back, everybody, to the KC Sports Report. I'm your host, Michael Darcy, and today I have the pleasure to be joined by my good friend Josh Fan of ShowMeFootball.com, and he's also a contributor at ArrowheadAddict.com. And today we're going to talk about one of the biggest storylines ahead of this week's AFC Championship game. So, ladies and gentlemen of the Chiefs Kingdom, your Kansas City Chiefs, for the first time in the Patrick Mahomes era, are underdogs in a playoff game at home. The Bengals, as of right now, are minus 2.5 for this AFC Championship game. And honestly, I can't blame the odds makers for saying that the Bengals are the favorites, but I do think it is disrespectful. I think that the Chiefs have been the top dog for so long now, and regardless of whether Joe Mixon and the Bengals believe they are the best, the Chiefs are the number one seed. The Chiefs are at home in this game. So I would feel a certain type of way if I was a Chiefs player, knowing that we're at home and we're the underdogs. But honestly, Josh, I want to hear your thoughts on this. I don't think the Chiefs being labeled the underdogs by the odds makers is a bad thing at all.
Yeah, I will say to start off that, by the way, thanks for having me on your channel. Should start
Of course.
With that. But, I'm not surprised that the Chiefs are underdogs in this one because even though when me and you, we make our predictions later this week, we're going to both pick the Chiefs. I'm pretty confident in saying that because as we've said several times now, we're not going to not pick the Chiefs. But, I mean, the Bengals have beaten the Chiefs the last three contests. They beat them in Arrowhead last year, so it's not like this thing where it's like, oh, can the Bengals beat them at home? Well, they did it last year. And the Bengals are probably the hottest team in football right now. They're probably the hottest team left in the playoffs. And you have the Patrick Mahomes ankle injury on top of it. Even though we think he'll play and we think he's going to be fine, and he's probably still going to be 80 to 85% of Patrick Mahomes that we see on a week-to-week basis, he's going to be limited in some ways. So I'm not surprised that the Chiefs are underdogs in this game. My bad. I think, like you said, though, it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's not. I like when the Chiefs are given bulletin material. I was debating this with someone last night about how bulletin material can help the Chiefs, and we've seen examples where it's helped the Chiefs before. And I'm not one of these people because there's been sometimes – I don't know when the Chiefs lost the 2020 Super Bowl. People are like, oh, Mahomes is going to be pissed off. He's going to go scorched earth next year. Well, guess what that ended up being? They lost in the AFC Championship game. So I don't believe in the whole, like, a player being pissed off is going to make them play better. Like, these guys should be motivated enough given that it's the AFC Championship. But bulletin material never hurts. And, for example, Raiders game, what was it, last season, that they, like, danced on their logo or something at midfield, and then the Chiefs proceeded to roll them over. So bulletin material never hurts. And I don't know if you saw, Michael, there's a video out there of the Bengals players counting down the clock in the Buffalo game, calling Arrowhead Burrowhead, which is also ironic because Joe Burrow has played at Arrowhead, one time, and he was okay in that game, and the Bengals won by 3. I mean, I think you have to win there more than one time for you to start calling it Burrowhead, but that's just me.
Listen, man, the Bengals talk a lot, and we're going to talk about that in this video. But one thing that I think is beneficial for the Chiefs being the underdogs is all throughout the week, we've heard the Bengals talk a lot, like a lot. Eli Apple continues to spew whatever comes out of his mouth. But, last year, the Chiefs was that team. The Chiefs was the team that wouldn't really shut up, and they were talking all their game, and they did not back it up. I think it being the other way for this game is very important because I don't know about you, I haven't heard a single peep from anybody in that locker room except for Frank Clark last Sunday or Saturday talking about how I don't care who it is, we'll be ready. So I really do like the fact that the Chiefs just are kind of ignoring all the noise and they'll be ready to go in this game. And I think that it could really come back to bite the Bengals in the ass because, listen, the Bengals are the hottest team in football right now. I understand that. Winning at Arrowhead in the playoffs is very hard to do, and I know that they've done that, and I know that they've beaten the Chiefs the last 3 times, but it kind of comes down to a respect thing. They don't respect the Chiefs. They've beaten them 3 times consecutively. Like, they just don't have that fear or respect for the Chiefs, but I do think, kind of talking about how bulletin board material can be used to your advantage, Patrick Mahomes can be a petty quarterback, and I love it. Like, I would not be surprised if he starts throwing touchdowns and starts counting on his fingers, or we start seeing the Chiefs run up the score because they finally had enough of all the trash talk and the Cincinnati Bengals hold on them, and they're not going to blow them out. But I would not be surprised if they really step on the gas and make this game hurt.
Yeah, and I know Patrick Mahomes' injury, I feel like we could make a whole nother video out of that, and we might at some point. But I have full confidence that he is going to play a good game. I know he's going to be limited, but like he went out there in the second half of the Jaguars game, and he had a 107 QB rating, and he orchestrated a touchdown drive that ended up it concluded with a MVS touchdown reception. So I think the Chiefs are going to be fine on offense. I'm not worried about their offense. I'm not worried about Patrick Mahomes. And actually, I saw something funny on Twitter before we started recording. Someone, they posted a screenshot of their text messages, and someone took a picture of Patrick Mahomes at the gym rehabbing and stretching his ankle or his leg, whatever he's doing to recover or rehab. And I just thought that was so crazy. Like, could you imagine you go to the gym, and I'm assuming this is some gym in the local area in KC. You just go to the gym, and Patrick freaking Mahomes is like 5 feet away doing stretches on a table.
I think he trains like a private facility, obviously. I doubt he's at like the rec center doing this, but it is crazy that from what I saw from that text message, like I wasn't examining his ankles too much, but it didn't look like there was a brace on there. It kind of looked like he was just stretching it out, and from what I've heard, this ankle injury isn't as bad as it could have been.
Yeah, and that's what Andy Reid said at the beginning of this week, that this ankle injury is not as bad as the one in 2019. Now, if you look at the video, watching back at the injury, it's like, I don't know, man, like that one was pretty bad, but you never know. And it's Patrick Mahomes, who we've seen him play through some stuff before. And it seems like he's taking this recovery process like really seriously. And I want to say one of Patrick Mahomes' like good friends that like helps him train during the offseason or something tweeted something out that was kind of like alluding to the fact that Mahomes' recovery is going better than they thought. There's been a lot of photos floating around of him, and it seems like he's in good spirits and he's like locked in. So that's a good thing.
It really is. And to kind of get back on the topic, what are your thoughts on the Bengals and specifically Eli Apple talking a big game?
Well, honestly, Eli Apple, I can't even lie. The dude is kind of funny. Like, I have to give him his props. And the amount of confidence that he has for a guy that's a lot of the time a below average NFL cornerback, it's impressive, man. Like, I got to hand it to him. And the stuff that he was tweeting about the Bills was kind of funny. And Stephon Diggs, he called him Terrell Owens Jr. because of his tantrum on the sidelines. And I'm sorry, Eli Apple is funny, but I know I'm going to feel differently as soon as he starts talking trash on the Chiefs, whether that's before the game, after the game, whatever happens. But I mean, he's definitely not helping the Bengals out. I don't know what the advantage is to going out of his way to pick on players is. I don't know. You're giving the Chiefs more bulletin material.
He's been doing it for so long. And last year, I remember he got cooked by Cooper Kupp on that final touchdown drive in the Super Bowl. And like, he did not get back on Twitter for months because it was bad. Like everyone, you saw like memes of Eli Apple's face on a burnt piece of toast. Like the NFL got him back, but man, like it's really going to hurt if the Bengals talk all this trash the week leading up to this game and they come out and stick it to us. That I don't think I could fathom. Like I don't think I could stomach that if it happens, but I really do think that like they're going to regret a lot of this.
Yeah. I hope so. Like the Chiefs obviously have to win for them to regret that stuff. I don't know. Like I'm nervous for this one. Like I'm confident the Chiefs will go out there and give it an A+ effort, but man, I'm nervous for this game.
I am too. And you know, the more that you look into it, it doesn't necessarily make it better because it's just like, man, like the Chiefs always make that one play that shoots them in the foot and they just end up losing by the slimmest of margins. In fact, in all 3 matchups that they lost to the Bengals, it was a combined 9 points, 3 points in every single game. They literally have gotten so unfortunate with plays that have gone the wrong way, and the Bengals just know how to play the Chiefs. The way that I see the Bengals is the way that Broncos fans probably see us. They capitalize on all of our mistakes, and that's not something that we're used to as Chiefs fans. We've seen the Chiefs make a whole slew of mistakes, but they're just so much better than everybody else that they kind of figure it out in the end. You can't do that with Cincinnati. They're really good,
Right.
and I mean, we saw what they did to Buffalo's defense. I hope our linebackers can keep up.
Yeah, and it's completely on the Chiefs in this game to play clean football. Like, again, last night I was debating this with somebody. They said, "Oh, well, the Chiefs. The reason they always lose to the Bengals is because they're scared of the Bengals, and the Bengals have this mental edge on them." And like, I understand the notion. I understand what this person was trying to say, but the Chiefs have played in bigger games than this before. They're not scared of the Bengals. These are grown men. These are NFL players. The Chiefs are not scared of the Bengals. Is it in the back of their mind that this team has beaten them 3 times in a row? Yes, but they're not scared. They're very close to winning each and every one of these games. If the Chiefs make a mistake in one of these games, it's because they made a mistake. It's not because of anything the Bengals did. It's up to the Chiefs to play clean football. Because do I think the Chiefs were scared of the Jaguars in the regular season when they turned the ball over 4 times? No, that was just the Chiefs playing stupid football. They had a turnover in 9 straight games this year. It's on the Chiefs. I don't think they're scared. I don't think they're scared of the Bengals. The Bengals can trash talk however much they want. The Chiefs aren't not scared of them. Now, I'm not saying the Chiefs are going to win, but to say they're scared, like, come on. This is Patrick Mahomes. This is Travis Kelce. These guys have played in multiple Super Bowls. I don't believe that.
Kind of going back to the initial topic of this video, it's kind of hard to stick in on it because there's just so many storylines going around, and I don't blame us personally. But, you know, the Chiefs, for the most part, I would say have been widely disrespected by not only the odds makers, but really the NFL world entirely. If you're looking at Twitter or Instagram or just social media, or you're watching sports shows, you'd be kind of hard-pressed to find someone that was confident in picking the Chiefs. The national media is on the Bengals. And again, I can't necessarily blame them because it kind of be like if the Chiefs faced off against the Ravens in the playoffs. It's just Mahomes owns Lamar Jackson.
Right.
But it's kind of crazy the amount of disrespect that we're seeing. And I mean, again, the odds makers thing I'm not going to get too pressed about, but I've never seen people turn on this team. I mean, keep in mind, guys, the Chiefs are arguably better than they've been in many years prior. They won more games than they've ever won in Patrick Mahomes' tenure. They got the 1 seed. What more do they need to do? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. And Peter Schrager, for example, earlier today, had this take on Good Morning Football, and he's like, if Joe Burrow wins this game, it's going to be hard to argue that Joe Burrow isn't better than Patrick Mahomes. And a lot of people got upset at that. I kind of said Peter Schrager isn't technically wrong, even though I still think Patrick Mahomes is a better quarterback than Joe Burrow, and I'd still take Patrick Mahomes over Joe Burrow any day of the week. It's kind of the same thing that us Chiefs fans do, like you said, with Lamar Jackson or with Josh Allen. Like, Mahomes just kind of owns them when it matters and has a better record against those guys. And it's not even necessarily because Mahomes has played better than those guys individually in those games. Like last year in the AFC divisional round, Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes had basically identical stat lines. It just came down to who had the ball last and whose defense was worse. And that happened to be the Bills in that one. Do I blame Josh Allen necessarily for that? No. But I don't think that you can't say that Joe Burrow is a better quarterback than Patrick Mahomes just because he beats Patrick Mahomes every single time. I know that's kind of hard for people to comprehend, but I still think Patrick Mahomes is a better quarterback, regardless of the result of this next game, especially since you have to reserve judgment a little bit, given that Patrick Mahomes is injured. We're not going to see him at 100% in this game. Now, I'm not going to use that as an excuse if they lose, because I think the Chiefs should still win this game, but you do have to take into account that fact. And then another thing is I was listening to the Bill Simmons podcast this morning. He is the founder of The Ringer. I'm not sure if you know what that is, but it's a big sports network. They do a lot of podcasts, stuff like that. But he did a podcast right after all the games finished up this weekend. And I was shocked because his co-host is the cousin Sal, who's also very popular on there. They were both like oh yeah, Joe Burrow is just better than Patrick Mahomes. And I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa. Like they were like, it doesn't matter that Mahomes is injured in this game. I don't think it would matter. Joe Burrow is just better. And they also had no problem with the Bengals being favored in the game. And I'm like, this just people are a little too confident in the Bengals, I feel like.
And I think ultimately it's not only the people that are confident in the Bengals. I think the Bengals might be underselling what the Chiefs can do to them. Keep in mind, guys, every single time the Chiefs play the Bengals, it is a 3-point game. And in fact, last year's AFC Championship game, it took overtime. Not only did it take overtime, it took Patrick Mahomes throwing the ball away in overtime for them to go down and win it. So I really do think that the Chiefs are going to be in this game to the very end. And I saw some crazy stat I didn't really think about. Patrick Mahomes has never lost a title game in regulation. It's always in overtime. But I do think there's something to be said for maybe the Bengals don't really understand what the Chiefs are capable of. Like, the Chiefs are going to go balls to the wall and throw the entire playbook at this game, especially a new game plan given Patrick Mahomes' injury. But I really do think that, yeah, the Bengals are confident, the media is confident, but like the Chiefs can kind of be that silent killer. I'm kind of getting those like 2019, 2020 vibes when the Chiefs went up against the Titans, where all we heard was that Derrick Henry was going to run all over the Chiefs. And then he had like 69 yards and the Chiefs completely shut him up and they won by double digits. That's kind of the vibe that I'm getting from this game.
That's actually a really good comparison. I never thought about that. That's really good, though, because, yeah, the Titans were this team that always kind of had the Chiefs number, and they had the big bad wolf that was Derrick Henry. In this case, it's probably Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase. But, yeah, I never thought about it like that.
And the Titans beat the Chiefs earlier in that season.
Yeah, they did. And that was also a 3-point game, too, wasn't it?
Yeah, because Harrison Butker, the botched snap, and he didn't get to kick it off.
Yeah. Wow, that's crazy similarities there.
Listen, I'm not saying that it's the exact same situation, but I think you can draw parallels. But ultimately, at the end of the day, like if the Chiefs play the kind of football that they played against Jackson, well, they're going to have to play a little bit better. But if the Chiefs just play their style of football and take care of the football, I don't think that the Bengals can win. I don't.
Yeah, not unless Chris Lamons just shares all the Chiefs' secrets after getting picked up by the Bengals off waivers today. Did you see that?
I did. I feel like they just don't tell him anything. Like he's not sitting in on offensive or defensive meetings. Like
I know Chris Lamons plays a lot of special teams, or he did. Hey, you know what? Yeah, Chris Lamons, give the Bengals all of Dave Toub's secrets, please do.
Yeah. What's the worst that could happen? It's made a difference this year.
Yeah. But I mean, I know some people are probably going to make a little bit of a big deal about that. This is actually a pretty common thing that teams do. They'll pick up players that were previously on the opposing team's practice squad game week, because I guarantee you, if the Bengals win this game and they move on, Chris Lamons will not be on their team. They will have no use for him anymore. He's not going to see the field or for them on defense or even special teams, I don't think. So, yeah. I mean, the Jaguars did that a couple years ago. I'm just thinking of random example. They did that a couple years ago with Chase Litton. Do you remember him when he was kind of competing for backup QB on the Chiefs? I'm sure the name probably rings a bell. The Chiefs cut him and the Jaguars picked him up the week before that they were supposed to play. So
I'm trying to think. Remember when the Chiefs played the Browns in 2020? I believe Corey Coleman. I think they signed Corey Coleman the week of. So makes a little bit of sense. But yeah, I don't have a problem with it. It's just football. It happens all the time. I don't think that's going to play some major role in this game. It could, but I think that's more just Dave Toub's special teams unit being a dumpster fire.
Yeah,
I don't think that's Chris Lamons spilling the secrets. I just don't see it. But Josh, that's really all I had to say. I really wanted to talk about the betting favorites and how everybody, including the national media, is kind of counting the Chiefs out in this game when I think that that's a foolish thing to do. And history would show, not even with the Chiefs, that if you count a team out, I understand that, there are some just lopsided matchups. The Chiefs are still in this game. Like the Chiefs are still the team to beat. I understand the Bengals have beaten them 3 consecutive times, but at a certain point, that reign of dominance is going to end and it's going to hurt Cincinnati. And wouldn't it be special if the exact same week where they're talking all this crap, all this trash talk, wouldn't it be fitting that the Chiefs take them out?
Yeah, and I'm not even going to tell anyone that picks the Bengals for this game that they're wrong or that their pick is dumb. I don't blame you for picking the Bengals. You have that right, and the Bengals have won this matchup the last 3 times. But it has stunned me a little bit just how overly confident people on the Bengals, like you said, in the national media are just they're so overly confident in the Bengals. And it's like, really? Like, are we discounting the Chiefs? And I know a lot of times we find ways to say, hey, the Chiefs are the underdog or the people are discounting the Chiefs, but like they really are this time. I mean, guys, they're underdogs at home in the AFC Championship game in the Patrick Mahomes era. So
it's almost like the inverse of what happened last year. I kind of feel like the Chiefs were talking a big game, and we kind of overlooked the Bengals because they were the Bengals. They hadn't done anything in 30 years.
yeah.
And this year, it's the opposite, which could be something to watch.
Yeah. There is a mental hump that the Chiefs will have to get over, and they shouldn't let the trash talk get too much into them, but they should definitely they shouldn't hesitate to shove it right back at the Bengals if they can win this game.
I agree 100%. But Josh, before we get out of here, do you have anything else you want to add?
No, that's pretty much it.
All right. So my final question for you is, where can the people find you?
You can find me here on YouTube at Josh Fan, just my name. You can also check out my work on showmefootball.com and arrowheadaddict.com. And you can follow me on Twitter at showmefb.
All of his stuff will be linked in the description of this video. As for me, you guys can follow me on Instagram. That's KC_Sports Report. Twitter is at KC Sports Report. Check out the website. The link is in the description, kcsportsreport.com. It's going to be a good one. It's going to be a fun one. Hopefully the Chiefs can take down the Bengals in the 2023 AFC Championship game. Until next time, guys, thank you for watching this video, and go Chiefs.